My dear friends from Auroville, at the very outset, I express my sincere sense of gratitude to all of you for responding to our request for the meeting today afternoon. You know, when this governing board was constituted about a year back, we had come and met you. At the time, we didn't have such a large presence, and so it is a matter of delight that we have a larger presence today. Having expressed my gratitude and thanks to you for coming over, I would like to state the objective of this meeting, the purpose why we are meeting today afternoon. Governing board has requested the meeting and the meeting is being held. This is essentially, you all know at some level, but I would like to express from behalf of the governing body, that we have some serious concern about affairs at Auroville. And we are here to share our concerns with you, and then leaving you with these thoughts, and would certainly like to have the benefit of your suggestions, your views, because being Aurovillian, you are the one who's supposed to be or should be the one who will be most interested, or maybe the primary stakeholder in development and management of Auroville. When this new governing body was constituted, we got on the job earnestly to carry out the responsibilities entrusted to us. And our responsibilities, one was, of course, to promote the ideals of Auroville. We have to help the people Aurovillians and others, how to promote it. But one tangible part of the responsibility was to implement the master plan as duly framed by the governing body in consultation with the resident assembly, and duly notified by the government in 2010 through Gazette notification. This process in fact, when it started, unfortunately, there were developments which were unpleasant in nature. There were boisterous opposition to it. Now, opposition was in the nature of this is not the way to do it. Some opposition came that master plan is not finalized as yet. So broadly, some opposition was that it is not consistent with the ideals of Auroville because it is against environment. On various lines, oppositions were expressed. Of course, matter started going to international media, national and international. Projection was made that Auroville was in distress, Auroville was under siege, Auroville was being destroyed by a totalitarian control. Matter also went to the court, went to the litigations. In fact, the way the whole thing erupted, it gave us shock. And especially to me as an individual, because I have been a student of Sri Aurobindo right from my college days. I have grown personally in my personal life following the two great icons, Swami Vivekananda and Sri Aurobindo. So I was shocked what could be there. Then we started going into the background. Why? Now, we started also meeting Aurovillians, and in the last 1 year, several hundred Aurovillians have met me at least, individually and in groups. Groups of 2, 4, 14. They have shared their concern, some saying that this is not the way to do it, this should not be done like this. Some saying that, no, we must not delay it, we must do it. So, both kinds of views and opinions have been coming. Then we started wondering, why is it so? We expected that this small family, hardly of 3,000 people, this small family with so much of differences, when the governing body in the late 90s and early years of the first decade of the present millennia, they drafted the master plan, and they drafted in consultation with the resident assembly, because these are all matter of records. And it took almost about 10 years or so when the government notified the master plan. For some reason, it took time, it was not implemented. When the new body, governing body came, we thought we should go ahead and do it. And then the opposition started coming, don't do it, to and from, some people for, some people against. Those who are against, they say this is not the way, they should be tweaked, there should be some readjustment. That there were suggestions, like ideas were coming like that. Some people who said that, look, the fact that it has not happened, this is not the way, we must, Auroville must move forward. A question, it haunted us, why this small family is not able to collectively advise us how to go about. Then we went into the background. We all know that this unique experiment here began in the year 1968. And this experiment was essentially to translate the vision of Sri Aurobindo of creating a community of Gnostic being, which Mother defined it in terms of charters. And it began. 1980, Government of India had to come up with Emergency Provision Act 1980. And the very preamble of that act says that management of Auroville entered into such serious difficulties and differences that government had to take over the management. And government took over the management of Auroville. And at the time, for the next 8 years, till the Foundation Act came, The government managed Auroville with the advice of International Advisory Council. There was no resident assembly at the time. Residents were associated, but there was no formal body as resident assembly. So till 1998, affairs went on like that. And then came the act. Government thought government should not be in it, so they created a body corporate called Auroville Foundation. This Auroville Foundation created 3 bodies: International Advisory Council, Governing Board, and Resident Assembly, to run the affairs of Auroville, to manage its affairs. And we started the journey, and as a part of that journey, to physical manifestation of Auroville. Auroville had 2 parts: a spiritual evolution and physical manifestation. So for physical manifestation of Auroville, the master plan was created. Master plan was drafted by the governing board in consultation with the resident assembly, which finally the government of India approved it, issued it through gazette notification. Now when this started implementation, then the problem again came. Questions raised that it should be revisited. That is one part of it. As far as the physical manifestation of Auroville is concerned, how the master plan should come, this has become a matter of debate. There are differences. But when we started, I for one started looking into trying to understand, because as I told you that being a student of Sri Aurobindo, I wanted it something, there was a deep anguish within me, and I wanted to understand why, what is that, where are we, how things are going on. We tried to understand and study the Auroville, the way the Auroville, how the Auroville is functioning, how the individuals are functioning, how the institutions are functioning, how this collective is evolving. In the process, I myself have gone to several areas. I have traveled to farms. I have traveled to the institutions where they are doing good things, manufacturing things. I have traveled to centers where they are producing and they are doing things for the sake of Auroville. A question that is lingering and very, very, very crucial. As far as the physical manifestation of Auroville is concerned, this is an area of concern on which there is a difference of opinion. But the core thing is the ideals of Auroville. We are not talking about the ideals of Auroville. We know that, and we are all here as students of Sri Aurobindo, we have all been reading him, trying to understand and trying to evolve. The Mother's Charter, it makes it very clear that to be in Auroville, one must be a willing servitor of the divine consciousness. And in plain and simple language, it means one has to be a bhakti. Total surrender to the divine consciousness, one must be a bhakta, a devotee. That is a sadhak. A sadhak who comes over here with a desire for further evolution to the higher level of consciousness. And that it's a place of constant education and progress. Sri Aurobindo has also said, which you are all aware, and even Mother said. I myself have gone through the collective works of Sri Aurobindo, Life Divine and all. All of you, I'm sure many of you have gone through, nothing new about it. That it is different from the rest, other places. It is a place where collectively, through assisted evolution, one reaches the higher level. In normal course, it may take several lives to evolve. But assisted living, Sri Aurobindo makes it clear, it is possible, it may be possible, even to evolve in one lifetime. Sri Aurobindo lays down, process of integral yoga, where it is a combination of Gyan, Bhakti and Karma. It is not one. First and foremost, a stipulation is, through the charter, a person coming to Auroville has to be a bhakta, a devotee, a willing servitor of the divine consciousness. And then integrate the two, karma and jnana, knowledge, evolving it. Now, it pains me when I moved around, the sadhana element of it, we find it is grossly deficient. Grossly deficient. You may find it very provocative, my statement very provocative. But I want to provoke, because after all, we are here not for the brand Auroville, but for the soul of Auroville. If the soul is not there, brand has no matter. People often say we have built the Matri Mandir. Wonderful. But Matri Mandir, which is the soul of Auroville, it should be the place of where Aurovillians should be regularly going and meditating. It has become a place of tourist attraction. Tourists come and visit and go. Sadhak, I have met individually people, there are very good people who actually, when I met them, some of them, the tears have started flowing there. They just didn't utter a word. I could feel a sense of pain and anguish among them. That where are we? Where are we going? They were not even able to speak. Someone said, very elderly people, Mr. Chairman, we have lost the way. Now the question is, when I see here, I find a lot of commercial activities going on. Somebody is doing good business. Is it a place of commerce? No, certainly not. Because karma is a nishkama karma, where it is not self-desire. I am doing the work, but the work is not for my profit, for my benefit, it is for the benefit of the community. There is desire. It is a nishkama karma. I find it very strange. And let me tell you, because a larger gathering is here. I find it very strange that a small family of 3,000, we are not able to produce food enough for ourselves. This is something which is intriguing. I've seen people here doing distribution business. Things are being brought from different agencies in Calcutta, Bombay, and so many places. Some are doing for distribution of things which are coming from Israel and some other foreign countries. We are doing trading. We are doing business. We are doing commerce. I'm not saying everyone. Some of us are doing that. But is it consistent with the ideals of Auroville? Auroville, I think we need to do some serious thinking on it. As far as the physical manifestation of township is concerned, that is one part of it. But we are more concerned about the ideals of it. Even somebody comes and explains to me that everyone says we are for human unity. And when I ask, what does human unity you understand? Someone says, well, we have got 500-600 people collectively, we have met and we had a lunch together. Now, human unity, as we all know that Rishi Aurobindo said, is about when I am standing here, all of a few hundred people sitting here, I see myself in each one of you as my divine manifestation of myself in all of you. When I am able to see myself in all of you, and you start seeing yourself in me, that is unity. Because we all know that under what circumstances Rishi Aurobindo evolved this theory. Rishi Aurobindo's lifetime was a time when the humanity was at the worst crisis. The world has seen 2 devastating world wars. World has seen the unleashing of atomic weapons. Millions of people were killed. And the question that bothered him was, what is the fate of humanity? Is it self-destruction? Are we going to destroy ourselves, humanity? And then through the long process of meditation and study, he realized that no, we are one stop short of evolution. We have to evolve to that level where we all see when the divine which is present in all of us in the form of consciousness, the consciousness evolves by disciplining the being, the physical part of it, and then I start seeing myself in all of you. That is, and then differences will dissolve. Then humanity will be able to live in peace. And individually, while some people were doing since thousands of years in this country, he wanted, as an experiment, that let it be a collective exercise, where the collective community of Gnostic being. I have met, as I told you, several hundred people. And again, I am surprised that many people I met, they are not even aware of all of us in the small village of a community. Everyone is living in, by and large, not I won't say everyone, but by and large, people are living in silos. I would urge, and my concern is, our concern, not my, I shouldn't say that, it is a governing board concern, which should be your concern as well, that Auroville is not like any other place where we are free to do whatever we wish. Here the freedom is the freedom of a sadhak. The basic essential condition is, I am a sadhak, so I have a right to be. I can be here. And I have to do. I have a freedom to pursue it following the broad compass, direction, which are illustrated by Sri Aurobindo through triple transformation and Sapta Chatushtaya, how to do the sadhana. It is a how we are going to do this, how we must do it, those things have to be evolved. We are doing some excellent work. I must say this, somewhere I've seen a very good work being done. But these are good work in the material domain. Where is that sadhana? I think, who is coming? You know, when this Auroville city, when 1988, when the foundation came, even before, in fact, 1980 itself, government treating it, Auroville is also the identity of India. Because this is India's spiritual identity, which says Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family. And world is a family based on the fact that everyone is a manifestation of the same divine. So based on that, we are all part of the family. So for the growth of Auroville, Government of India gave a number of special relaxations, like visa. Anyone who seeks to come to India has to go through a scrutiny. Everyone doesn't get. After all, people, especially those who are coming from foreign countries, there is a security dimension. But the moment Auroville recommends, there is a trust reposed that this recommendation is conveyed to our embassy and the mission, the visa is given for granted. Relaxation also is that visa is for longer term. Give it for 5 years. Normally we give it for a short term, 6 months, 1 year to any tourist coming visiting, or one who is coming for some kind of a well-approved functions. But do it for a longer period. Relaxation was also given that, okay, exempted from taxation. The remittances which are coming are free. All these relaxations, extraordinary relaxations, disregarding the security concern of the country, because who all is coming is not vetted from the security agencies. It is a trust. These all were done primarily with a belief that Auroville must grow and must grow freely, according to the ideals of Sri Aurobindo and as defined by Mother. I think there may be a lot of problems, a lot of issues. We can keep discussing about whether the road should be built here or road should not be built there. We may be concerned about whether the crown is built or which building is built where. These are one aspect of it. But the ideal of Auroville has to be preserved. It has to live here. It has to live in the most vibrant manner. Auroville cannot, all these publications that happened, the adverse publication that went to the international press, it did create a very, very bad name for Auroville. It was not in good taste. But the question is, this is one part of it, the image of Auroville. Image of Auroville is important. But more important than that is the ideal of Auroville. The ideal of Auroville, if it suffers, image is a fleeting thing. Image can be, if our substance is good, packaging will take its own course. We don't have to worry about it. When Mother was here, there was no need for branding it. Everyone accepted it, and people believed it. Now, I am speaking on behalf of the governing board. I would request all my dear friends Aurovillian to think of how to restore the ideal of Auroville. And I can tell you for sure, so far in all this last 1 year meeting, visiting, I have seen activities which are just the opposite of the ideal. In fact, when some of the Aurovillians they told me, which I don't wish to repeat here, some of the people were doing activities. When I talk to the agencies, they say, look, we don't usually interfere in Auroville because we believe that Auroville is a special place. However, these are the cases we have. The cases of substance abuse, the cases of money laundering, the cases of embezzlement fraud, cases of land grab. Cases have been there. I don't wish to go into detail of it, but these things don't edify us. These things don't bring us any closer to what we should be. I am not here, and governing board is not here to give you a talk or lesson. No. You are all experienced. You are all wise. Some people say, well, I have been there for 40 years. Somebody says, I have been 50 years. I have seen people, somebody says, I am the third generation Aurovillian. I wonder, and we all wonder, being third generation, is it something stipulated in the charter? The charter is whether we are committed to the ideals or not. That is important. Somebody says, I have met Mother. Yes, it's very good. You had that holy touch. You are blessed. But that should not be for you to tell, I have met Mother, so whatever I am doing is perfect. No, that's not. Because Mother has recorded it. Sri Aurobindo has recorded it, whatever he wanted, how he wanted the city to come. So it is not important. Now, how do you find, let me find one, how we find a stewardship being taken as ownership? Somebody who is there on a particular place for, let us say, 40 years, it is mine. Is it Auroville? Do we have that concept? I think there is a need for very serious churning. And it is something which is not beyond redemption. It can be done and it has to be done. And governing board has a response. Now the question comes, who has got the power? Now these are immaterial matter. Whether the power is with governing board, power is with the resident assembly, power with his international advisory council, these are immaterial. As far as we are concerned, there are only two powers. One is the Constitution of India and the laws of India, and second is the charter given by the mother. There is no other power. We don't recognize any other power. Sri Aurobindo's teachings and mother charter. That is one, sacrosanct. And the Constitution and the laws of India. It is not important that whether Residents' Assembly has a power or the governing board has a power. It is not, we have come down to the level we are doing for the power struggle. I think we have moved far away from being a sadhak. Now, we believe and sincerely believe that any way forward should be, as far as possible, in consultation and taking everyone along the boat. We don't like to create any sense of discrimination, any impression that no, force is being used. No, Auroville is not a place where force and coercion should be the choice. That shouldn't be the choice. But we also have an obligation that since the Act tells us to see that the ideals of Auroville is to be promoted. Now, and when we see that ideals of Auroville is being compromised, and compromised in a very big manner, I have no hesitation to say, because I have not come here. I have to play music to your ears. I have come to tell you what I feel. It is a pain. It is the anguish of a person who has been a devotee of Rishi Aurobindo. The issue has to be confronted frontally. It cannot be just whisked away by nice talking. And so if my word hurts you, you are free to hurl at me. I won't mind it. But the issue has to be confronted. And I would suggest now the Auroville has to have a set of guidelines, agreed norms, how to conduct its affairs. Conduct its affairs in terms of who should be allowed to come, who should be at the Auroville, and what are the common minimum, some activities which are consistent or necessary for being a sadhak in the process of our forward journey. Those norms should be there. Not only should be, these norms must be there. We have 50 years plus. We have made some significant achievement. There is no doubt about it. But these achievements in the domain, the physical domain, is not everything. The core has to be respected, core has to be restored. So, I would request every dear friend of mine here, present here, or those who could not make it due to some circumstances, let us not get passionate. Let us not say that, no, this is what. Let us not get angry at each other. Think over it. Because it is not acceptable, and I'm telling it plainly, that let the things as status quo continue. A status quo is not acceptable because India cannot afford Auroville to decline, Auroville to move away from the ideal. Auroville has to be spiritually strengthened and, of course, materially reinforced, strengthened. For which we need to have some set of norms, which ideally, and I have always maintained that Auroville should be managed by Aurovillian. There should not be any external interference. This is the ideal situation. But when we see that Auroville community, which is a small community, is not able to reach to a consensus. And this is not the first time. I read the Auroville Foundation Act. Auroville Foundation Act preamble states how the Emergency Provision Act was brought in because there were very serious internal difficulties in the management of Auroville. And that is how government had to step in. Now, we don't like government to step in again. We would like Auroville to grow with the cooperation, with the goodwill of all the Aurovillians, to make it what is its destiny. But certainly Auroville is not a place where one says that it is for, yes, some people said that we are helping the farmers. I asked a question, how are you helping the farmers? We are telling them how to do productive farming. I said, what is your experience? I'm telling you, frankly, there are people who must be sitting here also. I asked them, what is your, where did you learn farming? He was quiet. Where did you learn? What is your expertise in farming? He says, 10 years back in Bangalore, we had learned something about 2 weeks we spent in farming. Okay? First thing is, it is a 10-year-old technique. Second, did you try it on Auroville as a demonstration? Suppose we had tried, we do not have any demonstration farm at Auroville for the farmers to come and see. So why should a farmer of the neighboring village trust you? What is there? You say that I am helping the farmers is not convincing. Because you don't seem to have the requisite qualification to guide the farmer. Somebody says, yes, but for Auroville, I would have been lost. I come from a very poor background. My parents were very poor, and we have come. Very good. Auroville helped you. Auroville helped you, give you a home. And very, very noble act. But tell me, how is it different from in Tenkasi? There are people for the last 45 years, they have committed themselves to rehabilitating the physically disabled. 24/7 they have been working, committing their own resources, and they have helped more than 40,000 disabled people. Their life is devoted to seva. How is it different from right from this place in this very district, Velipuram? There is a place where one young couple, for the last 12 years, they have been helping the mentally disabled people, intellectually deficient, autism. And when I went there, they also acquired a barren piece of land, and now they are growing into farming. And they have rehabilitated more than 500 intellectually disabled people. They had invited me, I had gone over there, and I was so happy to see and touched by the sense of service. That a young person, after doing the master's MBA and all that, they could have a choice to go and do a good living. They choose to devote their life to the one who is completely marginalized, ignored by the society, mentally disabled, autistic children. But they both husband and wife. I was so touched when I saw in front of me one child, one young, about 12 years. He had the retching, and the chap went and put the hand and take the vomiting in the hand. That sense of service. But that is not Auroville. Tenkasi, those who are more than 40,000, they have helped the disabled. That is not Auroville. Auroville is for more than that. But here, we don't see that. I think there are people who are very, very anguished here. And as I told you that when I met them, I saw the tears flowing. And their silence was so loud. Their silence. They could not speak, but the silence. They were so anguished. I think we need to restore the ideal. We have to have some agreed norms for being in Auroville. Following certain norms may not be as strict. Of course, nobody says that it has to be a strict line which everyone has to follow. That independence has to be with every Aurovillian. But that freedom is that of the sadhak, not of if just a person, anybody else. We need to do that. And as far as the physical manifestation of the master plan is concerned, the question is that when the master plan was prepared in consultation with the resident assembly, And it was in process for more than a decade. And when it is notified, the question is, do we revisit it? There are people in Auroville who tell me, don't go ahead. There are people who say, no, this is not the way. We have to change. The question is, do we keep revisiting a duly followed something, a decision arrived through due process? I think if we continue doing that, there will not be any end to it. Here today, we have come, the GB has come to you to clearly spell out the concern that we have. Here to appeal to you, to urge you all to be dispassionate, think over it. Think over it, how do we develop Auroville? How do we keep the ideals of Auroville? And I would be, not, when I say I am talking on behalf of the GB, it's not individual. We would be very happy to have mails. As I told you, several hundred of Aurovillians have come and met me. We are open to meeting more. I am open, I hear, I give. We are not short of time as far as listening is concerned. Take any amount of, we are here to listen to you. And come up how to, your ideas. But we cannot keep waiting also endlessly. I would request you all, I would appeal to you all, if you have something, some suggestions, in the next 1 week, please give us, send us a mail. What you wish. How do, according to you, it should be. How it should. And what should be the agreed norms for the sadhaks, for the Aurovillians to follow. And let us come away from these arguments about which are essentially materialistic in nature. Those things are there. As far as the master plan is concerned, all those things are there. Those things are agreed. There will be problem. There can be litigation. We will try wherever it is possible to, what is non-negotiable is the ideal. Ideal is non-negotiable. And as far as a decision taken through the due process should also be non-negotiable. But if there is a constructive suggestion, something which is in the interest promoting the ideals, well, it is welcome. It is not that we are pushing it. But at the same time, I do believe, and I'm telling you in a very, very plain language, which may again hurt you, Auroville needs a shock, an external shock to bring it to its sense, bring it to its trail. Coming from a lay person, you might feel offended, but be that as it may. I myself have been a disciple, as I told you. I have been to many of the Aurovind ashrams, Aurovind places. I have been studying it. I do feel about it. Auroville has to, a status quo business as usual will not work. We have to now, best possible manner, we have to, each one of us have to jolt ourselves and think. And it is essentially for this purpose that I requested you all, and I thank you all. I am great. We are all GB is grateful to you all, appreciate your coming and listening to our concern. Please send your mails individually, collectively. Choice is yours. You are free. We will very patiently examine all those. Let me assure you, we are all well-wisher of Auroville. We cannot afford, even in our remotest dream, to do anything that be contrary to the very idea of this country, to the darshan, the very vision of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. We are all. Sometimes, we all humans, we may err. And that is where we look to others. Not only here, we have a consultation with a lot of people who have devoted their lifetime in the sadhana of this integral yoga and how to this, going through the triple transformation, going through following the quadrate, 7 quadrate, how they have been pursuing dedicated their lifetime. We have also been in consultation with them, getting their ideas. But for heaven's sake, let us not have an entitlement and a right. This is my right, and this is not a place where we should claim about rights and powers. We are here collectively for a cause. And the cause is for each one of us, individually and collectively, growing it. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I'll be very happy to send your mails. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, there is no Q&A. You just send it. Send it, whatever questions, whatever advices you like to give, please send us. Hello. There is no Q&A as such, as I told somebody said. This is essentially to share our concern with you. Question and answer will continue, will keep happening. I would like you, as I urge you all, to send your views, your ideas, which will be very precious for us, which will help us, which will guide us in moving forward. Thank you very much.